Donald Trump is first warned of the virus. He ignores it.
We have it totally under control. It's going to be just fine.
Defends the Chinese government instead. January 30th, Trump's own cabinet secretary warns of a pandemic, raising concerns that the Chinese government isn't being transparent.
We've seen the White House and the president really sort of pointing at China as the reason behind the coronavirus pandemic, and sort of the specific justification changes fairly frequently, but there is a consistency at sort of pointing to China, and it is somewhat backed up by the facts in that the outbreak began in China. There are questions about what the Chinese government knew and didn't know and how quick they were to share that information with the rest of the world. And what we have seen is that the American public may disagree on exactly what level of intent was behind the start of the coronavirus pandemic. We certainly see a lot of conspiracy theories out there that some people believe, but we do see a near majority of the public in this latest Hill-HarrisX poll saying that the coronavirus pandemic has made them more negative towards China, which means that in that sort of environment where people are going to be sort of more hostile, more negative, narratives sort of blaming or pointing at China are going to find it easier to take root. People, the president, Vice President Biden, anyone else sort of coming up with a story for why this is sort of the fault of the Chinese government or other actors, are going to find it easier to tell those stories because people are already a little bit inclined to distrust what's happening because they already view China as somehow responsible for the start of this pandemic. The blaming part of this coronavirus pandemic is very much driven by partisan differences. It is in the president's interest to sort of shift focus to China, and we've certainly seen him and seen sort of his supporters talking about China's role in the beginnings of the outbreak a lot. And we see that Republicans, by and large, are following them, with 62% of them saying that they've become more negative towards China in recent days as a result of the pandemic. Whereas Democrats, it's not as central to what Democrats are focused on. Democrats are more focused on the president, his performance or perceived lack of performance with the pandemic. So we see the plurality of them, 47% saying it's made no difference. It really sort of comes down to where they're getting their information from, what they're following, what cues they're following. That being said, we do still see 36% of Democrats and 49% of independents saying that it has made them more negative towards China. So that does suggest that there is some fertile ground there for these stories to continue to spread.